how's this for time lapse? When we were last in this food plot, we did a video here for Frigid Forage showing how you can use natural cover as sort of a moisture barrier. If you look in the background here, you can see those tall weeds. That's how tall this field was when I sprayed it. And we had a drought last summer, no secret. Most people throughout the Midwest had to deal with this. I wasn't able to get in here and plant. There was no soil moisture. So they were calling for rain in late July. I believe it was around the 27th actually. And I wanted to get in something that was going to be attractive early season, but also attractive late season. And I liked the Monster Magnet blend for that. Had never planted it before, but Tyler Ridenauer, another Antler Geeks guy, had great luck with it. So I said, even though it's a spring planting, we're going to give it a shot. We left the weeds that were standing, we just knocked them down with the drag behind the four-wheeler, because I wanted to use that to help hold the soil moisture in, and I figured that rain event there in late July might be the only one we get for a long time. I went in and seeded it, not sure what I was going to expect, and man, it just did dynamite. A lot of forage. Not everything came up. I mean, we had some of the spring peas come up, but not a ton. The sunflowers didn't really develop. But the brassicas, the turnips, sugar beets, forage carrots, radishes, all that stuff, and they really came up, and as you can see, the deer are already chomping on them. I mean, we have some giant turnips in here. Let me pull this one out. I mean, that's a big old turnip right there, and they seem to be enjoying it. This is my late season hope. This is a heavily hunted piece of ground. There's a lot of hunting pressure on it. Right around this section that we're sitting in right here during gun season, you could physically count 6 other hunters from right here. But they can't see into this food plot. And it's really getting pounded. As you can see, they're already starting to eat it. There's tons of trails and tracks coming into it. So the big mistake that I made, however, the location is dynamite because it's secluded. But now that it's here in late season and a lot of the grass cover that's around it's down and the leaves are off, I'm going to have a really hard time getting into this plot and getting out without alerting deer. The way you set up your plots like this is critical. I think I'm still going to be able to get an entrance and an exit out of this. It's not going to be as kind of perfect as you would hope. But when you're putting these plots in, don't let your enthusiasm and excitement overrule the common sense of hunting. And I did that a little bit. Early season I was able to get in here quite easily because there was so much more cover. But now that it's down, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So I already know what I'm going to do next year. Next year I'm going to plant a row of plot screen, because it will stay really tall and really thick, and it will allow me to slip in here and get out for the late season. Because not having a food plot in here before, I didn't know what to expect, but now I know the late season attraction of this plot is going to be exactly what I want. So I've got to have a way to get in and out of here late season. So 2 lessons that I got out of this plot: just because it says early spring planting doesn't mean you can't get something out of it. If the conditions are such, that you have to wait, it's better to wait to get the moisture than try to force it just because it says early spring. You may not get everything in that plot that you wanted, but I've certainly got enough to make me happy. And the other thing is, you got to really look at your maps and your aerials and plan out your entrance and exit for all seasons, not just early season, because this really wasn't intended to be an early season location. This was meant for right now in December. Sure, it's 60 degrees right now, not ideal, but they're still eating it. What are they going to do if we get that cold snap, those single-digit temperatures? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this ground blind brushed in, and when we get that cold snap, I'm going to be sitting in it, and I'm going to think that I'm going to kill a really nice buck out of this place.